What's up, everybody? We are live again. Dynasty Amir, Search for Huru, and we have the brother amenkrahh with us this morning, all the way from Mombasa, Kenya. And today's topic is going to be moving to Africa. Here's a plan of action. I know even when it comes to something as far as traveling to Africa, that's why I have a service I offer where I pretty much take care of all the groundwork in regards to that. A lot of people don't know where to get started. Um, so of course, naturally, when it comes to actually fully relocating to Africa, a lot of people don't know where to get started. So brother amenkrahh, who's going to give his background as well, um, left LA back in the early 90s, correct?
Yeah, 96.
In 96. Left LA in 96 and moved to Kenya. So here's a man that's actually done it, can walk you through it. People, and we're going to get into this as well. People who are interested in some type of business, starting a business in Kenya, just relocating in general. Grandmaster can help you out with that as well. So, Grandmaster amenkrahh, thank you once again for joining us. Yeah, well, I mean, the show today, what's the importance? Because I hear a lot of people, amenkrahh, saying, you know what, I'm just going to get up and move to Africa. I have no plan. I'm just going to allow the spirit to move me. People like this, what are your thoughts on them? Are they being irrational, or what are your thoughts?
Okay, on that issue, you can look at the moving to Africa like moving to a different state, because it's basically the same format. If you move to a state where you don't know people and you've never been there, then there are a lot of adjustments that you have to make, a lot of questions that are going to come up you need answers to. So people shouldn't think of it as to the other side of the world, because it's not. It won't seem like that. You get off the plane and then you just be in a different location. And media today and the internet, you can't lose touch with relatives or your friends. And in fact, you can be more informed about what's going on in America while you're in Africa than you would be if you were actually in America, because a lot of information that is here given in the U.S. People don't really realize that. So I wanted to a plan of action, because we already know, that these issues that are out there that are making the United States harder to survive in. You have the 9 areas of activity that Fuller has brilliantly put together, and Neely Fuller has the 9 activity, and he's saying that white supremacy runs all 9 areas of activities of what a person is doing in their daily life. So at one point or another, you're dealing in these 9 areas of activity. Some of them are labor, law, sex, marriage. So I think brothers are beginning to see that.
Hey, Grandmaster, Grandmaster, you might have to turn your video off. I hate to do it, but the connection keeps going in and out.
Okay, let me see. Leave the call settings.
Okay, there we go. All right, go ahead. There we go. Go ahead.
Okay, so that's what I was saying, is that we have this issue where blacks now more and more are beginning to become aware that a lot of the problems that they're dealing with are homegrown in the United States. And because I've been on your show several times, a lot of brothers and asking me questions, and they basically the same questions over and over, which is which and what is it like there? Okay, of course, now, can you survive there is basically a silly question. It's like we establish hundreds and hundreds of Black people are already here in Africa, and many more are coming. Of course, we know that it's not a failed state. And in fact, the complete opposite is true. It's the most fastest growing region in the world. And the middle class, African middle class, is the fastest growing in the world. And we have an opportunity where it can support people from this. And when you look at the situation that we have, we've been talking about it for so many times, but at a mute point, because we're being economically suppressed by racism. We're also being of the Black family, the Black family unit, and the stifling of Black men by the justice system and by the media. So, the reasons for going are there, clear, and Black community going down. People like Conway West are making statements that are ridiculous. People have seen Bill Cosby being railroaded in the justice system, where he's actually being convicted. By you convict somebody with no evidence,
right?
It's the same thing with, it's the same way with the OJ trial. How in the hell can you have a trial? He's found out guilty, and then you take he's found guilty. I mean, can somebody really explain to me where is that done in the history of any country? The man is
white,
considered not guilty.
Is white, and I say so. That's what that is.
I say so. Yeah. And white people in general, they're relentless. And, when they want to go after somebody, they part of their MO is that they never stop. In 10 years, it could be 15 years. You still on your neck. I was in the Black Freedom Fighters Coalition. I can tell you, I still feel that I'm still under, that they have a file on me and they're watching me. So a lot of brothers now that are a bit younger have an opportunity to make a decision to whether to try and look at Africa as an alternative. And just by looking at Africa as an alternative, you do a great deal for changing the way we United States, because America's greatest fear is Black people leaving in mass. I said that before. I'm saying it again. The greatest fear in America is Black people leaving the country in mass. It does so much to so much for the reputation of the United States when Black people are seen as unhappy and dissatisfied. And the country gets affected by that because a lot of what America is about advertising itself as some great place you should be able to come and be free. And we all know that freedom in the United States comes with heavy price because they have the highest imprisonment rate of any other country in the world. So with that being said, I wanted to say that we need to come with a plan, and then to enlighten people about a way they can get here and establish themselves. Some of it, I won't go into too much depth here because we don't want agents to be talking nonsense, but I can give a viable plan on how one can get from a complete life in the United States where they're comfortable and can survive to a place where it's unknown, never before, and there's negative information about what's going on there.
I was going to say, Rahh, if you want to go into the background of how you became conscious and why you left America for Kenya, I mean, you're more than welcome. So more than welcome to.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to give a little bit of background on what happened to me as far as what we call a black consciousness. And I believe that you have to have a bit of black consciousness in order for you to separate yourself from the United States. The wealth of information that is out there that we have been lied to. I mean, and we've been lied to so badly that even some people's brains are just turned off. They just turn off and ignore it. And it takes somebody to keep reminding them that no plane hit the Pentagon during 9/11. The building number 7 fell in a controlled demolition towers. No man set foot on the moon. They haven't established, they can't even prove that actually happened now, because people are talking about it and asking for proof, and they can't come up with the actual proof that no man landed on the moon. And one of the big problems is that on all of the moon landings, they show no in the background. And something where there's no atmosphere on the moon, so there should be stars no matter what video you take. But if this is another problem as far as when the space shuttle landed, it should have created a crater. There was no crater dust, so that have still been unanswered. HIV has never been proven to cause AIDS. These are lies that are, and they go on and on. And not only the lies, but the misinformation and taking us out of history. They're the two pillars of the United States system, and fear. And these two pillars is what they use against us to keep us in control and to sap us as if we were in the Matrix, just in a bubble somewhere where, all you do is go to work, come pay taxes, and then, go home, then pay taxes. You don't make enough money to really enjoy the actual American life, but you tend to want to dream that one day it'll be possible. And for 400 years, it has not yet been possible for the far majority of Black people, considering the fact that we were the ones who built this country.
Right.
Government is not on our side. So, in this issue affected me in this way. I was a very good house guy. I got married when I was a bit late, and I didn't have children. And then around that time, I started in martial arts, and I started training in martial arts 6 days a week and doing tournaments on 7 days a week. And that was up in 19, and Mr. Muhammad.
Hey, I'm Rahh. You keep going in and out, brother.
When he joined the Nation of Islam. Okay.
Yeah, keep going in
now, because I can't see.
I mean, I can't. Yeah, but I don't know. You're still going in and out. But just continue. We'll work through it.
Okay, I should be able to turn my camera on if that's not helping.
No, but
anyway, in 1960, Mr. Muhammad was training at the Temple 27 in Los Angeles, and I started going to his classes there. It's now a mall now, but at that time of the temple to get to the door of the basement, to go down to the basement. And brothers would always have these functions going on in the temple, and the brother would be standing outside trying to call people in. So every time I would go to class, the guy would come to me, "Oh, brother, come on, let's go down here and check out what's going on." And I was like, no, I'm going for martial art class. And this went on for some many months. And then this one day, the brother really got me, and I was trying to hurry up and get to class. And I told the brother, okay, when I come out from class, I'll go watch. I'll go to this event. But I knew I was going to be in class for like 2 hours. So after I finished class, I had forgot all about it. I went outside go to the thing and doing. But I wasn't a Muslim. I was actually a Christian, and I was never going for becoming a Muslim. And sat down and had the picture of the building, and the brother was start talking about this was at the top of the city hall was the shape of a step pyramid, and this is from ancient Egypt, and this and this and this, and that go pyramid show a different time and culture, and the pillars meant and how many pillars there were, and I was so fascinated. I was like, wow, this is, I never knew this. And so after they visited, after the guy, where can I get information? He gave me a phone number. He said, call this number. So that was on Friday night. And on Saturday morning, I called the number, and the brother picked up and told me, well, asked him, where is he located? And the brother was located right around the corner from where I live. As long as it was, this brother was just behind me on the next block. So I ran over there, and I met the brother, and then he had questions, and he saw that I was, and he took the time to with questions. You know, I was raised in Catholics, had a strong understanding of what the Bible was and what Jesus Christ was, and the guy was just killing every aspect of what I thought I knew. And this is Ashwa Kwesi, the young Ashwa Kwesi at the time, and the brother at that time was creating for the first time VHS tapes that had all this information on it, where he would talk and then he would show you actual videos on the VHS tape. So morning to evening, I mean, I kept him there from morning to evening, and then at the end of the day, I took the tapes home, and when I watched the tapes, I was just, you know, in total disarray. Up in my underwear, put the VHS tape in, and sit down on the couch and just be amazed why this man kept repeating it and showing the evidence. That's when VHS first came out, and so instantly I became black conscious, and started searching information at the. But I really realized that now two things had to happen. First, I couldn't deal with the name I had. I had a French first name, an Irish last name. My mother died when I was 15. I had no one to really talk to. Our family was in disarray at the time. I had to change my name, and that was a hard issue. But at the end of the day, it had to happen. And then the second thing was I had to go to Africa. Promoting black consciousness, I didn't actually have proof, and that's the type of person I was. Mm. So this is 1986, and I decided let me make a plan to go to Africa, and it took me 10 years to leave to go to Africa. By that time I had been I started my own school in America, because I could now see the racism that was in corporate America. So in 1992, I had enough. I walked away from it, and then I started making my living in martial arts. And then of course that grew in South Central Los Angeles. That I had the largest martial arts school, and it grew and grew. And then one of BKF members in the school, and I said, "This is my chance. I'll give the school to him for 3 months and go and take this trip to Africa so that I can, be legitimate." Because I didn't think I would be legitimate. So I had packed all my things, left my mountain bike and all my things packed, and I never went back. So when I came to Kenya, I just found like, okay, first of all, nobody knew nothing about racism here. And
Let me
And it was a
let me
great.
ask you this. As far as your items that you had, your items that you own in America, did you ship anything to Kenya, or did you just leave everything in America?
Okay, well, I really did. Really, I had what I did all that time for those 10 years was I had invested in this great large library of books, and I didn't go anywhere. I didn't have any. Whole thing was just read and get the knowledge. Read and get the knowledge. And you couldn't. I wasn't one that was preaching a lot of black consciousness, but you could just see it in me. In my school, it was like I had my school painted red, black, and green. So I didn't have that many personal items. Like I had my mountain bike. My car had been towed about 2, 3 weeks before I had left because I had I was planning on leaving this tax for this car, and somebody just came and took it. And they did. Some detectives from somewhere. People were telling me, "I'm mean, somebody's looking at your car." And I looked. It was detectives from I don't know. It was a different, not Los Angeles. I was in a different place, and detectives that came and looked at my car and looked at it around, and then they brought a tow truck and just took it. So I stood outside on the grass looking at them, and they didn't say anything to me. And I was like, okay, this must be a sign. And I was just planning on, that was when I was preparing to leave. And this kind of happened to me. I was in the Black Freedom Fighters Coalition coming up, and militant group, and I could just can feel like there were things that were happening to me that shouldn't have happened. But with 1 and 6 brothers are caught up in the justice system, um, you know, uh, it's almost like a business in itself. And a lot of brothers at that time I had never been arrested, so this was this something to see. They had agents that were like my friends, but they were telling me, I mean, this martial, you should not discuss this thing, and I'm like, ooh, look at my class. Look how successful it is. People want to hear. And at the time, I didn't know, but later on, you figure out, you look back in hindsight and you see like, oh man, that's what this person was about, because they pop in your life and then they pop out, and and so this was how I became Black conscious, and how I came to end up in Kenya.
Now, so can we get into the plan of action, like what specific they should do, or what?
Yeah. Okay. You see, first of all, I wanted to say that we've been dealing with too much of this talk of what is Africa is Africa, and I keep saying like this thing is I mean, PayPal. Are you familiar with PayPal?
Yeah, of course.
Hello?
Yeah, I said yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. Okay, now PayPal has just made a deal with M-Pesa, which is the money program here.
Oh, wow.
And
That's good. That's big news.
so today I logged onto my PayPal account, which I never used since I got it, because it was no way I could get the money out when I was, if you put money in it. But today I logged in with my M-Pesa account and connected perfectly, and put money in my PayPal account for the first time. And this connects me with a lot of goods and services, me, but not just me. But in general, there's so much connection now with people utilizing e-commerce throughout the country. So these are just the things that have been happening. These things that keep on going. I keep talking about them on my Facebook group site, Black Modern Africa, and we just have to realize that part of the big lie is that Africa is not a good place for us.
Right.
In fact, it's the best place. Right. And what I want to say again is the same thing. People are by because they don't have racism here. There's no disruption of the black family unit, and black into an oppressive what you would call an oppressive regime, because that's what's really going on here. How can you be last so often in so many things except for sports and entertainment? So are waking up and seeing this in hindsight and saying, yeah, you should have an option. And one of the greatest problems that we have is that there's no way that you can really have this thing called generational wealth, where you have wealth and you pass it down to your children, and your children pass it down to their children, because you can't really have a family in the correct sense of the word family without having a community. And the gone, sad to say, it's gone. It's being replaced by a function, and even when you can get a couple of neighborhoods that are black, other people move into the neighborhood. People don't have any appreciation for the property that they're living on, and this all comes from the environment that we are living in. And this environment is no black people, not even in politics. And I'm getting a lot of people from your show that calling me. I was on the phone yesterday with a brother for about an hour.
Wow, powerful. That's powerful. Rahh, you still with us? He didn't. Rahh froze up on us, so hopefully the brother.
And he confused. So it's like it's when they get quiet on the phone, because the brain is now trying to absorb what they've been hearing, and they come to realize you're right. Someone is talking to me from an authoritative position that makes the African look stupid, and it could be stupid to be colonized by one group and then turn around less than 50 years later, allow the Chinese to come in and do the same thing. It's just ridiculous. And the Chinese have no intention of coming into Africa to do that. They have an agreement. It's on the internet. You can read it, and it's a cooperative partnership. Many people don't know in America that the Chinese had called all the African leaders to come to China for Africa-China summit. And many African leaders went there, and they came back with highly favorable. I remember when the president to Beijing, and first the opposition leader. I know people gonna hate me for this. Right. The opposition leader went to America. Right. In a year, and he stayed for 3 months, and he came back with a new hat. Baba. And the president of Kenya, Uhuru, went to Beijing, and he came back with multi-million-dollar deals, including the high-speed railway deal. You see? So, America was not giving out any kind of deals to the African, and the Chinese come here and treated people with respect. And the black man is now able to be able to stand on his face when he has a willing partner that can help him, because we don't have the materials and the infrastructure, equipment to build a high-speed railway. But now we do, because part of the agreement was that the Chinese would teach the African, and then they would take over control of the subway 25 years going on right now. So this idea of thinking that Africa is some this flies in the face, like it's the silliest thing. In fact, like with so many lies, you just have to reverse it. Here, the African has he has his own government. There's no white people in Kenyan government. I've never seen them, and there's none. Not since Leakey. Uh, they have their own central bank. They have their own stock market. They have their own business community and contacts. Everything is black. Not the Arabs, not the Asians. It's all run by blacks. Blacks run this country. That's just that fact. And they're not going to give it up. Switch over to America. What does the black man have? You see, this is the problem. We have nothing. And we don't realize that we don't have anything unless Dr. Claude Anderson brings it out to you and tell you that we've gone nowhere. Things about the Egyptians, and the Egyptians were black. This is okay. That's all fine and good. Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakinen brought this to us, and Ashwa Kwesi also picked up on that. But how does that help us in the future? Because we're learning about the past and we're discussing the past, and the Hebrew Israelites are all talking about the things that what will happen in the past. But at the end of the day, where do we go from here? And this is why I want to bring up a plan of action, so that maybe there are some people that can realize that it is, it's easier than you think. But it is. It does take a plan. Black men in general, we are independent creatures. We don't run. We don't travel in packs. We're like an independent night hunter. We would go to Africa by ourselves and try to make things out on our own. This is how we are. And then we also have to be like that because of that. And it's just not that many of us have like partners cannot go buy plane tickets to Africa. That's an impossibility because of the poor situation that we're in the so-called richest country in the world. So, there is a way we can do this by utilizing social media and finding those guys that are able to fly and able to afford, and telling them that they should now unite in a small group for a common goal, and then this would ease the burden on them economically, so allow them to establish themselves in another country, because every time they do something like that to someone, frustration is just now it's old almost. And I know Bill Cosby, and Bill Cosby at one time was talking blacker than anybody else, and he could do that. He was discussing these things in the videos, and he was really promoting. Look at his whole career. It's like that. It's like he's promoting everything that we do. That's about being black. And then someone like D.L. Hughley gets on TV. He's been convicted. He's been convicted. Oh, I knew it was going to happen. And,
Hey, did the brother amenkrahh? Okay, there we go.
Yeah, so I mean, why jump on the TV and then help put the nails in the coffin of this brother who has done nothing but try to give us a higher standard to achieve? I remember the Bill Cosby show, and how proud I was to have a black show on TV at that time. So these things, what they're doing to Bill Cosby and this present generation, who is just looking like, okay, that old guy, no, that's not just an old guy, because he did a lot with helping other people come up in the industry. They kind of and then it's the same thing with Michael Jackson, the way they did him on the pedophile issue. He was ended up found not guilty, but the people didn't know that he was at one time the #1 contributor to charity amongst everybody. So and that still wasn't enough. And the way they can knock out our leaders like this is just it's a goddamn shame. The way they did Wesley is another issue. Wesley Snipes,
Snipe.
you know, when they decided to do movies outside of the country, and this wasn't acceptable because it made people start looking outside of the country. And Wesley, you know, had been black conscious for a long time. He even had a production company called amenkrahh Production.
He was a Nuwabian.
Which, huh?
He was a Nuwabian.
He was a Nuwabian.
Yeah, are you familiar with Nuwabi? Nuwabu. Well, we'll get into that in another video. We'll get into that in another video. But go ahead.
Yeah. So you put all these things together, and like I said, the two pillars that America uses: ignorance and fear. So when you have fear, you want to be relieved of that fear. And so the opposite of fear is joy. So they give you a lot of things of joy. You know, you can go to sports, you can go to movies, you can go to eat out, and you can sit down and watch comedy and all these things that they promote. How you gonna give somebody $30 million to crack jokes, and he's black? It's really difficult. You know, but anything they can pay that kind of money out to somebody like Dave Chappelle, because the guy can keep people's mind off of what's actually. And he does a smooth job of it by using the actual reality and then making it funny. And there's a lot of comedians that are doing that out there. At the same time, people after the show, you got to go home and deal with what is actually going on. And what is actually going on is simply blacks are being oppressed economically as a whole. And the black man is targeted as someone that they want to try to eliminate from power, even a woman ahead of him. And all this is going on, and so the reasons for leaving become more and more greater, and it starts pulling in more and more people, and it's very difficult to even imagine going to Africa because of that goddamn plane ticket price. You know, that's the whole key. And then if you get past that, then you know, you got to get that time off job. See. Maybe if you leave and some people they go to Africa, but while they're in Africa, they're not working in America, so they're not being paid. And this is another thing. So what we have to come to realize that in this plan, it requires that we group up. And I'll go through the plan. It's like this: 7 to 10 brothers that are committed to pay 250 shillings a month for 8 months. Okay. Now this is a plan. It's not like the set plan. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna give you an example as I go through it. You can alter it. It don't have to be 200, and it don't have to be 8 months. But I'm saying this is best that it works out. So you have 7 to 10. And then they put this money into a foundation fund, which will create an operational cell. So this cell is where all of this money goes. And you have this, let's say these 8 brothers are now committed to put this money in. After 4 months of putting into this fund, 3 from the 8 go Africa. I'm gonna use Kenya as an example. They go to Kenya, and their mission is to establish a safe house. Mm-hmm. It's conducive for brothers to now use as a place where they can live and function from. They're like an operational base. They find this place and they establish it. They may take 2 weeks, they may take 3-4 weeks, you see. But at all times, they're in communication with the brothers that are in the cell, that 10 brothers, not more than 10, just that group. So now you have the committed group, and this while they're there in Africa doing this, these other brothers that are still outside are also still putting in their 250 shillings each month. So the money is there. Now, this plane tickets that they pay, that's taking them from the 250 shillings each that they pay. So they fly in, They established this place. They when I say established, they pay the rent, they get secure that. So inside the cell, there's a discussion, and the discussion is kept inside the group members inside the cell. How much the rent is going to be, what is it going to, how much they're going to pay for furniture, or if need be, what kind of food they're going to buy, how they're going to set up the kitchen. Okay, so once this is established, now these 3 or 4 or 2 of them go back to the U.S. Now they're still committed to pay the $250 for 8 months, even though they have already went to Africa for that 5 months. While that first group is in Africa, also the group in the United States, their part of their mission is to recruit new people for the cell. That is another person that's going to come in and committed to pay 250 shillings for that 8 months, and for that they get a home, they get a place to stay, even if they do nothing. But now when the second group comes, they already liaison with the first group, and their job is to now establish contacts. Look at business opportunities, meet people, talk to them, and then they do that. So now you start getting people that are going to be able to help them and help the guys get a firm foundation based on that safe house, based on that sales location in Kenya. So once that's done, those brothers now either go back or longer, and the next group comes. So everything is based on the safe house. The money funds go to the safe house. Brothers can come there, they can stay there, or they can go, if they have money on their own, they can go out and hang out. And they have an opportunity, a safe house base that they can operate from, and it's only going to cost them something like $1,500. And they can actually go back and forth as they have the funds to do so at a 8-month period. After the 8-month period, person leaves out of the fund, moves out of the cell, and he's replaced by other guys that are now coming into the cell. That can be recruited into the cell. I shouldn't say recruited, but marketed into the cell, because they can be shown the information and the results of what's happened with the first brothers that went in on the deal. Because the problem with our brothers now is that economically we can't even afford credit. We get a working income, and 250 shillings can establish this over a certain period of time. And if you can get 7 or 10 brothers, you shouldn't get more than that, because attitudes and egos, they would mess it up. But if you have a smaller group, everybody has something to do. Everybody has a job to do, and that is to maintain the safe house for that 8 months, and use it as a base now spread out from. People have their own money, and go outside of the cell and live. That's an opportunity that they can handle. So I think like a place like in Kenya, you can find a lot of great opportunities here for jobs. I shouldn't say jobs, but for opportunities for business, where brothers can now move from there. And one of the things that kills you is the plane ticket, and then the second thing is the living arrangements. And then brothers that will go into these countries and then mess themselves up because they get around the wrong people. But when you have established a safe house, not only do you get a wealth of information coming to you to tell you what to do, what not to do, but it's that comfortable feeling that you can now move out from and move back from. And using social media, everybody in the cell can know what's going on at any time. You can do videos, you can do, chats, pictures, the money that would be used to buy food and, establish a strong can cook, or they can hire somebody to cook for them. And, you can talk to your relatives back and forth very easily. And now sending money back and forth is not even a problem now. So this is one plan, and the issue is brothers must women go. So if you can get 7 brothers that are established that can say, okay, I can commit 250 shillings a month for 8 months, and I'll get a trip to Africa, and I have a place to stay and food to eat, and it's up to me what I'm gonna do while I'm there, hold it to the safe house, and take care of assignments that are given to me to continue to build the safe house. Now, a safe house, a group that builds a cell can there'll be different groups. So you have a group of 7 that maybe these guys have money, and they can raise the standard that you can go to one cell, one safe house, and it can be a bit dirty, small, doesn't have a lot of land around it, and then you can go to another one that got a nice land in a nice location. It depends on that group how they function together, and you find that safe houses are in it'll be it can be a variance between the different types of established. Now you have senior members in the group. You'll pick that because who's going to be in charge. We have people that are natural leaders. People that when you get into this cell, you'll talk about all the qualifications that you have, all your skills, and then inside the cell, you guys can decide on best each person's unique gifts. And we as Black people, we have unique gifts. Some of those gifts we have never even known that we have them.
We got to do a show on that. Like us not developing our gifts.
Yeah, and because when I came here, I was amazed at how I was surviving. I came here and I was basically alone, and I just I figure out ways to make money, and I just kind of walked through, and I was amazed at how I was resilient. Because okay, now I'm very comfortable, but in those first days, things go from from the United States concept psychologically, you have to wrestle with that, and so I look back and how cool I was doing that transition. But I can say that I was never really afraid because I never felt like I was going to be starving and dying. Immediately I came, I made friends, and I was like, I go to my friend's house, and if it was like I didn't have a meal, I never had that problem. But if I didn't have a meal, I knew I'm gonna have a meal. I would go, and they would we eat good. I have there was a time when I was going for an event, a martial art event. I was living in Mombasa, and I came to Nairobi. An event was in Kibera, and if people don't know, Kibera is the largest slum west of Soweto, south of Soweto. So they walked me in the slum, and I was walking through these, winding mud houses, and how slums can be. And we got to a gate, opened the gate, and then I'm like, I'm surviving no matter where they put me, And they opened this door, and it was a beautiful apartment, and I was like, damn, it had the bed, everything for me set up, and I was like, I slept so peacefully. And this was in the middle of the slum, and it had TV, it had almost all of the amenities, and I didn't even think about that, except that they didn't have running water. That was the only thing. But you're gonna be poor, even African poor is not like American poor. American poor, you're really effed up. Things like that. If you're an African, what you have to realize is the African won't will be holding to his tribe mate. So even if you're down on your luck, you can find somebody from your tribe, and they will actually help you because you're from their tribe. So you don't get this thing of somebody that's completely no means. And so if you come from a broken family, or you have some bad issues with your family, your tribesmates will still take you in.
Hey, speaking of tribal,
Always fine.
no, there are like tribal tensions in Kenya.
I mean, come on now, look at it. With the two tribes that in Kenya, they fought like hell. You saw them on TV, and then the next thing you know, they're shaking hands and they all buddies now. Unfortunately, people
right, okay,
the fool believing that politics was something that was irrelevant. Somebody didn't tell these people that you run over here like fighting with the police and getting shot because your supposed leader, is being mistreated, and behind the scenes, these guys are best friends. So I think the lesson on the issue about looking at things based on tribe has really hit home this last year when they had all these politics with the opposition, even swearing himself as the people's president. So and then like a month later, he's shaking hands with the president. So it's like no, people don't have that issue. In fact, now people are across. I mean, I always see people from different tribes, together, and they're like, some marry somebody from my own tribe, And so I don't. See, Africa is changing, and the tribal issue, especially in modern Africa, is not something that is a big concern. People are modern now. They're not following it. You don't see that. In fact, if you have to remember that before the white man came, African tribes lived in harmony. I did a research with Dr. Livingstone. Is it Dr. Livingstone? That guy that came, the white guy, Livingstone. Dr. Livingstone.
Right? Didn't he get ate by a lion or something too?
Who came and started reading the journals, and he was describing about how everywhere he went, the African people gave him a warm welcome, and there was no up until the time where when he came.
Brother Amenkrahh, you're going in and out again. You might have to turn your video off.
So this man, with the white man, a historical fact is at the bottom of most of these causes, this disruption between different type of tribal groups. I mean, look what they did in Uganda by taking the minority tribe and putting them in charge, and then giving them guns, and then jumping up and walking out of the country after that minority group started beating down the majority group. That's what caused the genocide. People have learned from that. Mzungu is not somebody that when you see him, you can really trust him. That's part of colonialism. That is a sad case. But let's not forget the thousands of years that Black people have lived in harmony in Africa, and right now it's back to that. And Black people have been living in an oppressive war zone for 400 years. There was an article about the oldest slave. They found the oldest slave was still alive. They did an interview with him in 1930.
Cujo, I think it's
yeah,
I saw that.
Yeah. And what did the brother say? He was pissed the fuck off when after they gave him his freedom, they refused to give him land and a mule.
Of course.
You understand what I'm saying?
What do you expect?
Can you know, so,
I
huh?
said, yeah, that's what
So,
you expect. You thought
you,
them to treat him fair? You thought they were going to treat him fair?
no, any of us fair. Nobody was given this allotment after they were set free. They were set free and the country broke. What kind of mindset of people that would do you like that? And then on top of that, in the 1920s and 30s, issue with a separation, separate but not equal, right, as we call it. And people don't really know what that is because the average black person, the pillar is to keep you ignorant, one of the pillars. So you don't know your history. And that's one thing about being black conscious. When you go in and read the actual history, you cannot be the same. So yeah, so we were separate and not equal. And then they made it a mission to utilize racism as an economic weapon to oppress us up until this day. And people don't realize that because I come from corporate America. You realize that they have groups of corporate officials, white corporate officials, that come together in their own personal meetings and decide that no black person is allowed to work on a corporate job more than 5 years. So brothers are starting to come to work, they're trying to do their job normally, and then all of a sudden, the man is all on their neck. And then next thing you know, they've been let go, or they've been passed over for an allotment in their money. And many of us have gone through this, unable to get evidence to show that this actually took place. So these are moving to Africa would eliminate, as far as the being oppressed. And somebody needs to look up the definition of oppressed and see. One thing I was.
Hey, I'm in wrong. Quick question.
I can dare or talk about it.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Conway West.
Okay, go ahead.
He was talking about. Yeah, he was saying that 400 years actually is 300. There's going to be 400 years coming up soon. And I think brothers should be really prepared for that. But he was saying that if you've been oppressed for 400 years, it must be your choice. And psychologically, the choice is made for you. But at any one point, any brother could just say, okay, I'm leaving the country, right? Okay, leaving this country. And they move up, they move to Africa, and then they find that it's a wonderful place, and they never want. But why doesn't that happen? Why doesn't more brothers go and say, look, Africa? Because the propaganda machine, Western mass media propaganda, wants you to stay in America, and so they demonize Africa to you, and at the same time make you think you're living in the best country, and you're living in terror, and you're living in a terror state. How can you say the best country is the murder capital of the world, and people? So you see, now we have to look and see what has been done to us, and it's not something that is necessarily physical, but it's all psychological. Because at my level of consciousness, I watch a TV show and my family could be laughing, and I'm looking at the show like, this is not right. What they're doing, that guy, what he's saying is not right, because it's making you believe that that it's like this and like this. You have to assume that things are like this in order for you to believe that what he's saying is true. And anybody that really gets involved, they can see it, and it's a sad case. It's a very sad case.
Okay, somebody was asking, what about gas and electricity? Do you have any issue? Because I know in Nigeria, they have issues sometimes with consistent power. Do you face any issues like that in Kenya or Mombasa?
Here we go again. It's wasting time on something that's obviously ridiculous. Is there gas in Kenya? Yes, there's gas.
Well,
in fact,
access.
They found
I know there's gas, but people want to make sure they
Kenya,
have
and they just went to gas. Well, yeah, you can buy gas. The 5,000 shillings. They deliver the gas to your house. it's kind of okay. I mean, how is it? Will I be safe? Will I be okay? This is a psychological. When they ask that, they ask it. And I think we already know you're going to be okay. So you you're going to have people here that are going to tell you all kinds of stupid stories, but it's not even 1/3 developed in Kenya. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for the size of the country, it's only so this large actual urbanized development, and it's spreading. But there's still areas where you're going to have this not developed. It's just land. I mean, when I back, when I travel back and forth from Mombasa to Nairobi, you just see land, and people are going to move into the land. They're going to have first thing they got to establish drainage system. They got to establish electricity. These are things that have to happen. Go to an estate that was having this and then
years later, can you cut your video off, brother, please?
Go there, and
I'm Rahh. Can you cut your video off, please, brother? Because it's
okay. All right. It says, am I on?
Yeah.
You see me?
No, I don't. But go ahead. We don't. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we need that, and I feel like some of these people that are coming up with these things in the chat room are agents, and that's another thing you should know. You talk about trolling people. These people are not trolls. These people are agents. An agenda, and their agenda is to disrupt what is a positive, flowing conversation. So if you ever look at a person that you call a troll, but I call them all agents. They never bring anything into the conversation. They always twist what somebody attack was already said. They never bring in anything fresh, saying like, I read your statement. And they go in, they read people's, try to manipulate, try to generate a sidebar conversation that will spin and stall it from continuing in a positive direction. And we should just be calling those people agents. When someone starts asking me about is there gas and electricity in Kenya?
No. They just wanted to know, do you have how can I put it? Because like in Nigeria, they have rolling power outages sometimes. So they want to know, do you have issues like that in Kenya, where you're at?
I'm saying in any developing country, you're going to have that issue when you have this very outages, but we something like 15 years ago, California had some great big power outages. I used to go and water my lawn. I used to turn the water hose on and leave it on the grass, and then it would run and run. Then water would run down into the gutter, and I would come from playing and see this water running into the gutter, and I'd be like, "Oh, I forgot." It's actually, you do wrong things with water, waste water, you're actually committing a crime because of water shortages that are going on in California.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember that when the United States had a strong infrastructure, but now look at it today, it's falling apart. At the same rate, Africa is growing and expanding. And when you have these guys are building estates that have like 15, 25 houses in an estate, and they have a demand for electricity and sewage, and these things are taking place. Now you can't just give them power like that. You have to turn the power off and then develop it into that estate. Things take time and they power outages, but it's not infrastructure that's not there. You know what I'm saying? So, I understand these things, but people that come here, some of these guys, they have a negative attitude towards Africa because they can't. A lot of black people come here, they end up with a negative attitude about Africa because they in the back of their mind they have an exploitive mentality. They come to exploit. There was a brother that came here. He had money. He wanted to go have sex with women, and instead of giving them money, he wanted to buy wine and pizzas and cheese for them. And then they were supposed to give up the panties because that he had money. And two girls that he had an eye for, I knew them. They walked out and left him standing there. And he was so upset that how could they leave after I did all this for them? They don't know who I am. I just shook my head because the brother don't understand that the basic principle is that you go to a girl and you ask her what she wants to do. You don't dictate what she's supposed to do. Like you, somebody, and it was a big conflict. And I've seen many brothers that do like that. They come here, go to the restaurant, and they ask for orange crush. This guy came here and asked for orange crush soda. Now there's no orange crush soda here in Kenya. That brand is not there, but they have an orange soda, Fanta. And the guy started making a big complaint about why they don't have orange crush soda. So, and many Africans, they don't see black people every day. So when they come in contact with one that acts like this, they tend to say this is how all black people are. We have ability as an African in a community of Africans to be respectful towards those who are ahead of us. And there's no way you cannot say that the African is not ahead of that. You can't come be stolen from Africa 400 years ago, and then you're gonna come back to Africa and you're gonna act like you number one. And Africa been there for 2,000 years. The people been here for all this much time. You can't come from Africa. The African know that the black man don't have money. So when you think you're gonna come here with some few coins and think you're gonna show off, no, don't do that because you just look stupid. They're gonna be polite. The African is very polite. He's not gonna come up and tell you. In fact, he'll go out of his way, not as part of their culture. They'll go out of their way to not hurt your feelings, and that includes they'll lie to you. You see? So you got to know this. You got to understand this, and you can't you can't come here with a false sense of pride because at the end of the day you have nothing to support you. Okay, many brothers I've seen come here, they're very guilty of that, even though they may not want to say it. So what at the end of the day, what do? Africa is not this shit. Oh, I didn't, there was no like this man, I was there, didn't have no air conditioning. You don't even have air conditioning at your own goddamn house. And you talking about they didn't have no air conditioning. So it's like, you really get past that. And the brothers in the cells, they should check each other. If humble. I didn't get to be a 10th degree black belt by, beating up on disrespecting them. I was on instructor. He's now 70 years old, and he gave me a compliment, and I told him right back. It's all because of his, what he taught me. I didn't learn out the sky. I learned from someone. And I have to respect them because at the moment that they was teaching me things that I didn't know, they could have chose not to tell me. And for that fact, they gave me, changed my life. Respectful for that person. You see? So, and this is another point that we got to get into about the talking too much on social media without having a result in some sort of action. Because you can be given information, and if that information is not useful, it's just entertainment. You see? If somebody tell you something and it don't help you, that's just entertainment. It has no value. to make you feel good at that moment.
Right.
Get me? And TV is full of that. TV is full of that. And to believe, I gotta watch my program. You ain't watch your program. Look out the window and see that you all these Mexicans and Asians that are walking around in your community. You can go to your local store and see that there's no brothers in that store, business owners, and then see that there's a crisis coming along because you're gonna have children are gonna have to be brought up in that same nonsense. So yeah, brothers have been calling me with a sense of urgency, and I'm saying that I looked at this, and this plan that I have put together is just like a format of what can work if you have like-minded brothers that are committed on their own. Reality, somebody depend on drop you in Kenya. You got to depend on the bus driver that's going to drive you from where one destination. You always have to depend on people. But in a crisis, people smartly, and you need to depend on people more. Put your ego in your bag. It's going to give you a trophy because you did everything by yourself. Because in reality, you didn't do really anything by yourself. You always had help from somebody, whether position or whether they was just doing it out of the kindness of their heart.
Absolutely. All right, brother. Well, I mean, Rahh, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, brother, the floor is yours, man. Anything else you want to share? I mean, please continue. I mean, you've pretty much, you know, went into detail about everything as far as relocating to Africa and, you know, having a plan of action.
But I have to do it.
Let me ask you this: as far as relocating and finding wives, can you explain that process as far as brothers who want to find wives in Africa once they relocate? Like,
now you see, I was watching your show with the chick. What's her name? Somebody 6 legs or 6 long.
Oh,
somebody,
6 footer. God is 6 footer. He said 6 legs.
Was she 6 feet? Is she 6 feet tall? You don't know.
Say it one more time.
But anyway, I was watching that interview, and you know, she had some good points. I mean, the first thing about the polygamy part of it, you know, I was in a polygamous relationship in Los Angeles for 5 years.
Oh, you never told me that. You never told me that.
Oh yeah, I was in a polygamous relationship for 5 years. I said something that really made a point. If your community won't work, and that was the case with us. It was always outsiders, you know, help to break up that relationship. But anyway,
that, brother, but you had one out. Say that one more time. You said we lost you at the community part.
I'm saying that I was saying that the lady said that something that was really, which was really on point, which was that polygamy that accepts it. So, and our side, you know, we were doing the norm, and it brought a lot of attention, and you know, was giving my ladies a lot of pressure about being in that type of relationship. So eventually, they was able to break it. But for those 5 years, it was a wonderful experience.
So as far as Africa goes, or Kenya, what are your thoughts on polygamy there? Is it legal? Because I know it's a very Christian country.
Christian country. They just put it in the Constitution. They wrote it into the Constitution that a man can have more than one wife.
Wow.
So you come to Kenya, or you can look it up on Google. You can see you can have more than one wife. It's legal. What goes on in Africa, especially in the rural side, which is larger than the urban side, is a lot of people are still practicing polygamous relationships. I know many people that are from that, and it still goes on here. Has made it legal. Get your marriage if your wife number one, two, three, like that. But as far as your first question was about African women and compared to,
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to say that our black women in the United States have been poisoned, and it's a very sad case. And when I say these things, please remember that everything I'm saying about a black fault, it is our fault. And Sherazad Ali wrote in she had the sisters reeling, and the sisters' response to her was very, very negative. I went to see her speak live, and at the question and answer, they just wanted to attack her.
Mm-hmm.
And and it was a sad case because I, at the time, had a polygamous relationship, and I had seen a lot of these negative women take a perfectly good relationship, everybody's getting along, and ruin it just because of the fact that they didn't have a relationship with a man at that time. And this is the case. We have failed our woman. And what goes on is that we are in an oppressive society. We black men are in an oppressive society.
I'm wrong. You know what's crazy? Like, this is what they're doing in America now. Like, getting pussy. Like, if you're a black man and you get pussy, like, they're trying to make it damn near illegal. But if you're black and you ride the Hershey Highway or chase the like they catch the chocolate starfish, like, you will be celebrated. Like, that's like an accomplishment. Like, you will receive all types of praise and gold medals and pats on the back for chasing or riding the Hershey Highway or catching chocolate starfish and then getting pussy. Like, I just don't get it.
Okay, I don't know those terms.
Being homosexual.
Okay, gayism.
Yeah.
You know, that's the word I invented, gayism. You see, they don't have a word for all these things that don't, but gayism puts it right on point. And people should just use it. You practice gayism is in you know, it's like that. But you see, the issue is, as I was doing, is we're in an oppressive society. The black man doesn't have money, and society state dictates that if the man must have money. So we are afraid to admit that we don't have money, and it's basically at the root of most of the black men and black women. A brother goes to a woman, and the woman says, "Take me out to a nice restaurant." Mm-hmm. Money, but what does he do? Why you gotta eat me out of house and home, or what? Or, you know, what you gonna do for me, bitch? And then you see, the woman now starts acting up. The guy is mistreating. So the guys are running away from this issue. They don't realize that they can't. Their problem is that they're in an oppression. Give them opportunities. You know, somebody calls you on the phone and gives you like, "Hey, brother, you know, there's a thing here, and if you got $50, you can get in on it, and we can start a business, and you know, we want you to get involved in it." You see, you don't get this kind of, because the system is oppressing you. So your brother don't trust you. Mm-hmm. You see, and he don't trust you because he has very little food and money, and he surely doesn't want to hurt. I have to tell you, I can't help you. You see, because if you continue that sentence, it's saying help you because I'm barely making it myself. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so this is what we have. And then that causes all kind of black male, female. He can't get a house. The woman guy got a job, and the job raise or give him more money. And then the woman after like a year or two, she's like, "What's going on? We still in the same place. I want to go I want to tell you, and the man is just hearing, you see, and so they get mad and it's there, and she sees like the guy doesn't have money, but he's working. Now the guy has lied to her that he's making more money than he really actually is. So he's hidden bills he's not telling her. So she starts to investigate because she thinks that he's money. That's where some of his money is going. Straight out of the soap opera. So a woman gets pregnant and she says, "I'm having a baby." The guy gets really freaked out because he doesn't have money to even take care of a kid. And he's heard about the price of daycare and all of this. So I'm one of them. So I know what it's like when somebody just on you. And so you brothers run away, brothers get belligerent, brothers, say to the point where now we hate women. There's no way. If somebody magically came here and gave every brother 50, 60,000 US dollars, or even 3,000 US dollars, getting knocked on all over the place. Baby, I want to take you out. Baby, let's go here. That thing I wanted to give, he would do it. He wouldn't spend his money on things that he would go to if he knew he had a lot of money. And this is what goes on, but it keeps getting reduced and reduced and reduced. And the black woman is mad. And she's scared too. See? So she tries to deal with the brother that she can't man. You see, and this is exactly what the system wants. Because if you have two people that are together, right? And okay, that's cool. But the system already knows that if we can make these two people break up, and the other one has to move to his own place, that means instead of buying one refrigerator, it would be two refrigerators. Instead of buying one bed, they have to buy two beds. It's economically expedient for the people to come together, then separate. Because now, where it would be one meal, it has to be two meals. It would be one car to petrol to put gas in. It'd be now two cars to put gas in, or pay for the transport for two vehicles. So it doesn't make sense for the system to allow us to stay together, because and America has think tanks that are in place that have puts out data, and they act on that. They efficiently, effectively keep us at each other's throats so that we don't remain together. If you in your handsome and you live in 50s, by that time, by now you should be having a woman and a partner and moving up through society. But they attack us on every angle using Western mass media propaganda.
Well, brother, I was gonna say, is there you want to share and close?
Okay. I don't really have much to say except that you can find me on Facebook on the Black Man's Guide to Understanding Black Women.
Oh, you got the so you got the Black Man's Guide to Black Women now?
No, Black Man's Guide to what did I say? Black Man's Guide to Moving. Black Man's Guide to Moving to my. That's on Facebook. So make a step, take an action step. That happened at the moment with Kenya, and also give you historical information about what dates, so that you can not be too sleep and see like coming from all that great. and we don't expect everybody to. We don't expect 30 million people to go, but I'm saying there's a small percentage of brothers that are fed up. They don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm saying that move over to the African Black Man's Guide website, start getting information, start making there. Some Nigerians that are also on the group. You can make and filling out information. These things and things that you can ask those questions and then get some good proper responses.
All right, everybody. Thank you much for joining us. Make sure you reach out to. Bad echo. Okay, I'll be all right. We just got to fight through it. Guys, make sure you go to search for Huru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, Africa Personified on those same platforms. Also, go to searchforhuru.com. Go to Amazon.com. Search your name, Dynasty Samir. Please buy a book. Go to AfricaPersonified.Africa. And make sure you go to dynastysamir.com as well. Also, go to AmarachTV.com. AmarachTV.com. It's a platform for Black media, for African media. AmarachTV.com, which is a platform for African media. Make sure you guys please go there and check out the site and sign up. So again, everybody, thank you so much for coming on. Brother amenkrahh, hopefully we get you back on next Sunday with another dynamic topic or whatever. You just let me know, amenkrahh. You just let me know when you'll come back on.
All right, I appreciate the time with the listeners. We need to get more people in the comment section too. Let's see where we can take it. Let's make a plan of action as opposed to back and forth.
All right, cool. Yes, sir. All right, brother. And anybody, if you have any questions or need help with a plan of action, please reach out to amenkrahh. Okay. Please do that. So again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Till next time, peace.